So there's this fascination with Elon Musk and Trump together, and that is why things would change. I'm going to tell you that's not going to be the case. This is your favorite half Chinese, and I want to show it through this right here. And here we can clearly see this is from Open Secrets, where we can see who is paying who in politics, which is quite interesting because we can see quite a lot of money going from Elon Musk to several different politicians. The interesting part is Americans, just like the people in the Netherlands, still think there is a left and a right side, while there's actually not. There's only one side, and that is the capitalist side, and that is always right wing. The left side in the United States, as in the Netherlands, means actually the left side of the right wing. So one that is a little bit more, leans a little bit more to the center. Mind you, I'm saying leans a little bit more to the center, is not in the center. And definitely not left, because they have to cross the center. Now mind you, the situation always is changing. Sometimes the Democrats go a little bit more to the center, or the Republicans go a little bit more to the center, or they go a little bit more to the right, vice versa, etc., etc. But they never, ever come in the area of a real typical left wing. So therefore it is always right wing. Now here, this is interesting. When we look at this, we can determine that what I say is actually true, because we can see here he pays off a lot of Republicans, right? Republican Party of Utah, Eureka, National Republican Congressional, CMTE, whatever it is, Republican Party of California, National Republican Congressional, CMTE. But he also is paying Dick Durbin, who is a Democrat. He also is paying Cory Booker, who is a Democrat. He's also paying Democratic Midterm Victory Fund, which are Democrats. He's also paying Prairie PAC, which are Democrats. Lindsey Graham is a Republican. Mark Pryor, a Democrat again. And the list goes on and on and on. Yes, it is this much, and it just will continue, right? Just look at the amount of money that he is just paying to them in the form of what they call donations. Even Hillary Clinton, who would have thought, right here, Hillary has been paid off by Elon Musk for $2,300 in 2015, 5-1, right? So he's paying both sides. Do Americans now, and also please the Dutch people now, clearly understand that there is no left and no right. There's only one party, and that is ruled by the capitalist. In the Netherlands, we have a different system. We're not going to elaborate on it. On that right now. I just wanted to make a little video because I don't know why people think that Elon Musk would make a change for the better for the Americans. Listen, Elon Musk does what he has to do. Elon Musk is a huge capitalist, and as a capitalist, you should not be thinking about other humans. What a capitalist is doing is thinking about how to accumulate more capital, right? That's a job of a capitalist. Not saying he's a bad person or a good person. That is the nature of being a capitalist. It is not about social issues. Social issues regarding the overly vast majority of the people. So we should understand this huge difference between the two. And I'm not saying that he's doing bad things. I'm also not saying that he's doing good things. But he does what he's supposed to be doing, and that is accumulate as much capital as possible, regardless of the well-being of the rest of Americans. It is up for the Americans to think whether that would be in their favor, yes or no. The same goes for the Netherlands. It is up for the Dutch people whether they think that is in our best interest, yes or no. To me personally, I would say no. Because the best way to make money is not always the best way or giving the best circumstances to the overly vast majority of the people. It means exploitation. The more you exploit, the more money you can grab. And that's the whole problem what we have. And that is why in a capitalist society you always have this fight between the capitalist and the working class. And the capitalists want to have more of your money and you want to keep more of your money. And therefore you should not fight among each other, but against them. I just wanted to show this, and I'm not telling you that you need to be for the other side. The other side is just the same. It's just the same, all right? There's no difference in that. They are just there. And this is also why people think that Trump will change anything. He cannot. He clearly cannot. And the reason why is, as you can see, and this is only about Elon Musk, he got about 308 records, right? If he is paying both sides off, and another president, doesn't matter whether it is Kamala or Trump or whoever, right? If they want to make a policy or craft a law and pass it, it must pass through the House or the Senate or the Congress, whatever it is, right? Well, guess who is paying them? That is capitalists like Elon Musk. And obviously, I'm not attacking Elon Musk. I'm just giving it as an example because he's quite a bit in the news lately. But there's also people like BlackRock, right? The CEO of BlackRock openly said, who cares who wins? We've bought them all. I mean, he literally said it, and I'm not quoting him, but something along those lines. So it is very, very clear that these politicians themselves, as a president or a single party, are not going to be able to do that. Because they're all being paid off on both sides. And that's the whole thing. So forget about it, whatever Trump wants. Even if he really, really wanted to stop all the wars instantly, right? If the big capitalists who are paying off the Congress and the Senate and everything and everybody on both sides say it's not going to happen, then guess what? It's not going to happen. It's as simple as that. And I want people to really to start to understand. And for the Dutch people, it's also very important to understand, because I hate to say it, but we are kind of almost looks like a colony of the United States. Whatever they say is what we do. A very good example is the United States tells our own company, ASML, one of the top companies, if it's not the top company of today, right, from the Netherlands, you cannot sell your things to China anymore, which will cost them about a third of their of their income. And what did our government tell ASML? You cannot sell to China, despite the fact that they will be losing money, and in the long run, they will be gone. Because China is going to develop their own machines, bring them on the market, and guess who's going to buy them? The rest of the world. Why? Simple. Because we have proven not to be a sustainable supplier. Because if the United States says you cannot sell to them, then all of a sudden we need to cut you out. So it would be making much more sense from a business perspective to buy the new machines from China, because nobody ever experienced that with China. And not even mentioning that when it's made in China, it probably will be lower in price. And that's the whole problem what we have created, destroying our own businesses on behalf of the United States. And why are these things happening? It's not because of Biden, not because of Trump, not because of Obama, not because of Clinton, but because who is controlling their government. And that is what we all need to start to understand, because you are all fighting the wrong animal.
And then we will have people that say, but MrFong, what about all the LGBTQ and the trans thing that's going on? And that is typical left wings. And no, it is not. Because if we look at those organizations, we will soon find out that their donors are actually those big capitalists. Again, we see their faces, we meet them everywhere. And so it can never be left wing, right? And then if we look at the media, but Mr. Fong, there's a liberal, a left media and a right wing media. But if we look at the who is owning all the media, are again the same people, the big capitalists. So you have to understand that the whole left and right situation just doesn't exist. It's a delusion. It's a delusion to keep us as far apart and divided from each other as they possibly can. And why? Because if we would understand these kind of dynamics, we might take actions, and we would understand what actions we should take to get rid of this oppression and the tyranny of a small group. In other words, a regime, because that's the definition of a regime, right? So I really want people to start to understand what is going on. It is not the left and right, it is them against us, right? People need to start to understand, and this is the exact reason why people need to start to unite and start to talk with each other. What I want isn't much different than what my neighbor wants. And what my neighbor wants isn't that different than what their other neighbor wants, right? We all human, we are quite simple on what we really want in life. It is not really difficult to find out. But if we keep ourselves busy with this nonsense and fighting among each other, or about left or right, and don't want to listen to each other, then the situation will only get worse or stays the same. And both outcomes, whether it gets worse for us or stays the same, are not the outcomes that none of us is seeking for, right? Because we all want to have improvement. So we need to find a way to come together and understand what is really going on. And therefore, you also should stop idolizing politicians and political parties. They're not on your side. You should stop idolizing all those billionaires. They're not on your side. They're actually actively oppressing you. And this is something that people really need to start to understand. They're not your friend. They're not one of us. Are you kidding me? You're not paying 100 million to a president-elect, are you? So you're not one of them. It's as simple as that. And when you're not one of them, then they're not one of you. People, please try to understand. And that is why my advice is, the next time when you see a politician opening his mouth, directly turn off the volume and search in his history what he or she has done. And you can go from the beginning up until today, and you will see that everything they do is going through a certain way. And you will see, if you analyze each point, who it will be benefiting and who it will be not benefiting. And then you will soon see that the only beneficiaries in a capitalist society are these capitalists. And this is what we need to understand. But if the people in the West do not want to educate themselves on politics, then we will keep this problem. If the people in the West are only able to fight among each other and not against their oppressor, then the situation will never end. And this is for the people to decide. Do you want to have your freedom back? Do you want the government to be working for you? And then it is time to educate yourself. And that is always what I'm asking for. I'm not asking you to choose any sides or whatever. I'm asking you to pick up the books and to start to educate yourself and all the people around you because it's long overdue. The government ain't going to do it. It's evident that it is not happening in school, so it's up to the people themselves. What else are you going to tell your children later or your grandchildren what you have been doing in these important days? Sitting with your thumb up your behind. Could you face them? Just think of that. Anyway, let me know what you all think of this in the comment section, but please keep it respectful. We are not uncivilized barbarians, unlike those what we just were talking about. This was your favorite half Chinese, and as always, have a great day.